Have you ever felt the weight of unspoken words in your family? Those quiet tensions that simmer beneath the surface during gatherings, threatening to boil over. Perhaps it's a clash of generations, where old ways meet new ideas, and neither side quite understands the other. If you've navigated the complexities of extended family dynamics, you know how these rifts can linger, stealing joy from what should be cherished times. Today, I bring you an original story that's all about bridging those divides, focusing on Margaret, a widow cherishing her family traditions, and her daughter-in-law, Sophia, a modern woman building her own path. Through their journey of conflict and eventual harmony, we'll explore themes of reflection, second chances, and the wisdom that comes from truly listening. This tale is crafted to resonate with those who've lived through life's ups and downs, reminding us that family legacies are strengthened not by perfection, but by forgiveness. Join me for over half an hour of immersive storytelling, and let's see how even the deepest divides can lead to unexpected joy. You might find echoes of your own experiences here. Margaret's home was a haven of memories, nestled in a quiet suburb where maple trees lined the streets and the scent of baking bread often wafted from her kitchen. Widowed for several years, she found solace in routines that honored her past, polishing silverware passed down from her mother, tending a vegetable garden that fed her family for decades, and hosting Sunday dinners where stories flowed like wine. Her son, Daniel, lived nearby with his wife, Sophia, and their 2 young children. Sophia, a dedicated graphic designer who worked from home, brought a fresh energy to the family. But from the start, their worlds clashed like mismatched puzzle pieces. It began subtly. Margaret would offer advice on child rearing, drawing from her own experiences. Babies thrive on structure, dear. Try a strict nap schedule. Sophia, advocating for flexibility to balance her career, would smile politely but follow her instincts, leading to quiet frustrations. Imagine this. During a family barbecue, Margaret rearranged the kitchen while Sophia cooked, insisting on the proper way to season the roast. Sophia bit her tongue, but later confided to Daniel, "I feel like I'm always being judged." Margaret, overhearing accidentally, felt dismissed, her wisdom cast aside like yesterday's news. As months passed, small slights accumulated. Margaret gifted handmade quilts for the grandchildren, only for Sophia to store them away, preferring store-bought ones for ease. "They're heirlooms," Margaret murmured to herself one evening, staring at old photos. The tension peaked at holiday planning. Margaret envisioned a traditional feast with her recipes, while Sophia suggested a potluck to include her own cultural twists from her immigrant background. "Why change what's worked for years?" Margaret asked sharply during a phone call. Sophia replied, "Because families evolve." The line went silent, a chasm opening. Little did they know, a looming family crisis would force them to confront these divides head-on, revealing hidden pains from both sides. The rift widened when Daniel announced a job transfer to another city, meaning the family would move away. Margaret's heart sank. Visions of empty Sundays loomed. "You'll visit," Daniel assured, but Margaret saw it as another loss, echoing her husband's passing. Sophia, excited for the new chapter, planned the move efficiently, but Margaret's offers to help were met with, "We've got it covered." Feeling sidelined, Margaret arrived unannounced one afternoon, with boxes of preserved jams and family recipes. Sophia, mid-packing, snapped, "This isn't the time. We need space to do things our way." Words escalated. Margaret retorted, "Your way." "Dismissing everything I've built?" Sophia, exhausted from juggling work and kids, unleashed pent-up frustrations. You've never approved of me, always critiquing, never listening to my side. The argument spilled into the living room, where the children watched wide-eyed. Daniel intervened, but the damage was done. Margaret left in tears, driving home through rain-slicked streets, her mind replaying Sophia's words. Am I really that overbearing? She wondered aloud to the empty car. Back home, Margaret sifted through old letters from her own mother-in-law, recalling similar clashes in her early marriage. We found common ground eventually, the letters hinted, but Margaret had forgotten how. Meanwhile, Sophia confided in a friend over coffee. I respect her, but it feels like I'm competing with a ghost. As the move date approached, a sudden health scare for one of the grandchildren, a high fever turning into an emergency room visit, brought everyone together in panic. Rushing to the hospital, Margaret and Sophia found themselves side by side in the waiting room, forced to communicate. But would this crisis bridge the gap, or widen it further with blame?
In the sterile hospital glow, as little Emma recovered from dehydration, Margaret and Sophia shared a vigil. Daniel paced, but the women talked haltingly at first. I was scared, Sophia admitted, voice cracking. Margaret nodded, me too, reminds me of when Daniel was small. Sharing anecdotes eased the air. Margaret recounted homemade remedies that once soothed her son, and Sophia listened, intrigued. Maybe we could try that next time, she said softly. Post-discharge, with the move delayed for recovery, Sophia invited Margaret to stay over to help with the kids. Reluctant but hopeful, Margaret agreed. Proximity revealed layers, Sophia's late nights working while soothing a fussy baby, Margaret's quiet grief over lost traditions. One evening, cooking together, Margaret taught Sophia an old family soup recipe. Why not add your spices? Margaret suggested, surprising herself. Sophia smiled, really? The blend was delicious, a metaphor for their merging worlds. Yet, old habits resurfaced. When Margaret organized the nursery her way, Sophia bristled. Please ask first, she said firmly. Instead of arguing, Margaret paused. You're right, I forget you're the mother now. This vulnerability sparked deeper talks by the fireside. Sophia shared her immigrant upbringing, the pressure to prove herself. Margaret opened about her own early struggles, feeling overshadowed by her mother-in-law. We both want the best for them, Margaret realized. Humor lightened moments, Sophia joking about Margaret's endless energy, Margaret quipping back about Sophia's tech gadgets saving the day. As bonds tentative formed, a discovered family artifact would push them toward true understanding. If the move cancelled, the family recommitted locally. But at a neighborhood potluck, old patterns loomed. Margaret instinctively took charge. Sophia felt overshadowed. Not again, Sophia whispered. Sensing tension, Margaret stepped back. Your turn to shine. Sophia led, incorporating Margaret's tips subtly, and the event succeeded. We make a good pair, Sophia said later. Deeper reflections followed walks in the garden, where Margaret shared stories of her own compromises in marriage. Wisdom comes from bending, not breaking. Sophia nodded, and joy from sharing burdens. They volunteered together at a community center, teaching intergenerational classes, Margaret on traditions, Sophia on modern twists. Bonds grew with the kids, who thrived under united guidance. A minor setback, a garden frost killing crops, symbolized resilience. Replanting together, they laughed off failures. Like us, starting fresh, Margaret said. This phase cemented their alliance, turning conflict into collaboration. Yet, the true resolution would come in a heartfelt gesture that sealed their new beginning. While packing the attic, Sophia unearthed a dusty trunk of Margaret's, filled with letters, photos, and a journal from Margaret's early marriage. Look at this, Sophia called. Together, they read entries of doubt. My mother-in-law thinks I'm not good enough, how do I win her over? Margaret blushed, I forgot I wrote that. Sophia, touched, shared her own journal snippets from her wedding days, confessing fears of not fitting in. This revelation humanized them. "We were both in the same boat," Sophia said. They laughed over parallels, stubborn traditions clashing with new ideas. Margaret admitted, "I projected my past onto you, unfairly." Sophia confessed, "I shut you out to protect myself." Bonding over tea, they brainstormed ways to honor both heritages, a family cookbook blending recipes. The grandchildren joined, drawing illustrations, turning it into a legacy project. Adversity struck again when Daniel's job offer fell through, adding stress. Blame could have reignited, but instead, they supported each other, Margaret offering practical advice, Sophia using her skills to redesign his resume. Teamwork, Margaret chuckled. Subtle humor emerged in mishaps, like when they accidentally overspiced a dish, our fusion gone wrong. Through these trials, wisdom bloomed, reflection showing that overcoming rifts builds stronger ties. But a final test awaited, as old resentments threatened to resurface during a family gathering. Culminating their journey, Margaret and Sophia co-authored the family cookbook, dedicating it to future generations. Launching it at a home gathering, they shared toasts, "To understanding," Margaret said. "To second chances," Sophia added. Daniel beamed, "You've both taught me so much." The grandchildren presented drawings, symbolizing the blended legacy. Daily life transformed, shared holidays with fused traditions, mutual respect in decisions. Margaret found joy in Sophia's innovations, like digital photo albums preserving memories. Sophia drew strength from Margaret's stories, incorporating them into her work. Overcoming adversity forged unbreakable bonds, proving that reflections lead to wisdom, and forgiveness to rediscovery. Imagine this harmony in your own family, the peace it brings. Through patience and openness, they created a legacy richer than before.
In the end, Margaret and Sophia's story shows that family conflicts, though painful, can lead to profound growth and unity. The twist? True legacies are built not in isolation, but through shared understanding and second chances. Reflect on your own rifts. What one step could heal them? Share in the comments. I'd love your insights. If this moved you, subscribe for more stories of triumph, and explore my Family Bonds playlist. Until next time, embrace the bridges in your life